And once again, if anybody has come in and they're going to speak during the public comment, please sign your name. And when you are addressing the council, please state your name and your address as it is posted on the Open Meeting Act. So we're going to start with the consent agenda. The approval of the minutes for March 16th, 2026, the approval of claims as presented, and the treasurer's reports and accounts receivable report.
I move the consent agenda.
Second. Christie's got it.
Thank you. Okay, next up is public comment. So first up, we have Bill Weaver. If you'd like to please stand, state your name and your address, please.
Bill Weaver, 808 P Street, P.O. Box 157, Beaver City, Nebraska.
Oh, one moment too. Yeah, I'm sorry. You'll have 3 minutes. This is a time for public comment, not a time for debate or response from the council. So with that, I will start a 3-minute timer. And you have the floor.
Am I on for just 3 minutes?
If you mention it, but if you, when that question comes up about council procedure, that's when I was telling you to ask questions to the meeting.
I don't have anything to say right now.
Next up is Doug Brown. Once again, you have 3 minutes and you can go ahead and start.
Sheriff Doug Brown, after consult with Furnace County Attorney, the Beaver City City Attorney, and the Board of Commissioners, letter was drafted that I will leave with Jackie when I am done reading it. If there is enough time left, I will try to explain it as fully as possible. To the Honorable Mayor and members of the Beaver City Council, it has come to the attention of the Furnace County Sheriff's Office that during discussions held on or about March 18th, 2026, statements were made regarding a recent incident in which actions have been attributed to my office that were not initiated, directed, or carried out by the personnel of the Furnace County Sheriff's Office. The attribution of actions or decisions to this office, absent factual basis or documentation, creates significant concern. Such circumstances present not only operational confusion, but also potential exposure to liability for actions outside the authority, direction, or knowledge of my agency. Furnace County Sheriff's Office remains committed to maintaining a professional and cooperative working relationship with the city. It is not the intent of this correspondence to limit that cooperation, but rather to ensure that the interactions are conducted in a manner that is clear, accountable, and consistent with applicable legal and risk management standards. Therefore, all requests, directives, or official communications to the FCSO should be submitted in writing on official city letterhead. Such documentation shall include the date of the request and the signature of an authorized city official. Electronic transmission of scanned documents is acceptable provided the above requirements are met. All such correspondence shall be contemporaneously copied to the city attorney. Absent this documentation, we will be unable to take action on behalf of the city, except in circumstances involving immediate threats to life or public safety requiring emergency response. These measures are necessary to ensure accurate record keeping, preserve operational clarity, and protect all parties from misunderstandings and misrepresentations. Furnace County Sheriff's Office will continue to respond to calls for service and emergencies in accordance with established laws and responsibilities. However, discretionary actions or services requested by the city must be in compliance with the documentation requirements outlined above. Additionally, it is important to note that legal counsel has advised that continued circumstances involving misattribution of actions or lack of clear authorization may necessitate a review of the existing law enforcement service agreement between Furnace County and the city of Beaver City. It is the presence of this office to avoid such measures and instead work collaboratively toward clearly defined and mutually understood procedures. Should the city wish to discuss or formalize these expectations further, this office remains available to coordinate such a meeting for that purpose. Respectfully, Sheriff Doug Brown. For clarification, I understand comments or discussion was had attributing letters that had been sent out to people in the community about ordinance violations, and it was stated that it was the sheriff's office that did so. Unequivocally, it was not the sheriff's office that did that. My office had absolutely zero knowledge of the letters being sent until we were advised by the city that the letters were sent. And the reason this is an issue is because if those ordinances are not carried out evenly for all persons, my office stands to be sued under a 1983 civil action if it's attributed to my office.
Okay,
Because if I give Sabrina a ticket, that's my 3? Okay,
thank you.
I'll leave this with Jackie and for everybody's review. So, thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Doug.
Thank you.
Okay, that's all on the list. Next up is the action items. And, the first up is building permits for 809 N, 619 P, and 1202 9th Street. Mr. Gay.
Jim Cady, Beaver City. All right, on Roger Deeds, 809 N Street, we have permit to put a ramp up to get a cart up for his wife to get up to the door. We approved that. We recommend that you also approve that.
I move to approve building permit for Roger Deed for ramp on his deck as advised by the Planning and Zoning Committee.
I'll second.
Who is that?
Me.
Okay, any other discussion? If not, all in favor, Jordan?
Yes.
Christie?
Yes.
Sabrina?
Yes.
Quinn?
Yes.
All right, so moved. Thank you.
Okay, Meredith Williams, 619 P Street, wants to pour some concrete to kind of fill in an area, make a patio. It's all kind of right in the middle of the yard, more or less, so we recommend a yes on that also, please.
Also move to approve building permit for Meredith Williams patio as recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Committee.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor, Christie?
Yes.
Sabrina?
Yes.
Quinn?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Okay, so moved. Thank you.
Okay, we have a junior Lanier, 1202 9th Street, in addition to his snack shack up there. Guess he wants to sell more bologna sandwiches or something, I don't know. But we approved that, we asked you to approve that also.
Motion to approve building permit for Junior Lanier and Lanier Little Pumpkin Patch as recommended by Planning and Zoning Committee.
I'll second.
Who is that?
Me.
Okay. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor, Sabrina?
Yes.
Quinn?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Christie?
Yes.
Okay, so moved.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Okay, now our next up is the resignations of Jim Cave for dangerous building. Is that correct?
Yes, Red Dangerous Building Inspector.
And then Colin Rogers on council.
I move to accept both resignations.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? If not, Quinn,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Christie,
Yes.
Sabrina.
Yes.
All right, so moved, thank you. All right, council vacancy notice.
Yeah, I'm not sure where this one falls into play at, but, Colin was the current chair, so, we need to appoint a new chair.
I felt that probably once we get the next council person in there, then we have a full council to choose from.
I would disagree.
I think somebody needs to fill that spot in the meantime. Just like we do, like interim. That's what, 8 months?
No, not until as soon as the new one's picked, the next one's picked, that's what I meant. in like a couple weeks. Not November.
It'll be 2 to 10 weeks, depending on, based on,
Oh, could be,
2 to 10 weeks,
Yeah,
what's
well,
the criteria for that?
if you choose the first name that she brings to you, she has to bring them one at a time. And if you guys say no, then it'll go another 2 weeks to the next meeting, she'll bring another name, if you say no to that. So we,
We handled that all during the last vacancy filling.
what, I'm sorry?
I said we handled that differently last meeting.
it wasn't, we read the ordinances, or the ordinance.
Okay, so 2 for 10, so
Okay, go ahead.
I make a motion to appoint Councilman Speth as new chair.
I'll second.
Wait, you guys got me all jacked up. Okay, Jordan second.
Yep.
This is for Sabrina.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, any other discussion? Not, all in favor, Jordan,
Yes.
Christie,
Yes.
Sabrina,
Abstain.
Quinn.
Yes.
So moved. All right, next up is utility superintendent and utility assistant positions. We have one,
So you guys recognize that you're in receipt of council vacancy notice, I'm certain.
Yep.
Yes. Thank you.
so we have. So there's just one city superintendent, is that correct, Jackie?
Yes.
So that's our current interim.
All right, so the vacancy's been, when did we announce that vacancy? How long has this been open?
For utility soup,
Uh-huh,
let us not say it was January 5th.
January 5th.
So I've had the ad running like right after that next meeting, so
Okay.
3 months.
Okay.
Ish, like I haven't counted the days.
Uh-huh. So my question is, Colin has recently resigned chair. Have any interviews over utility or utility assistant positions been conducted that the rest of the council is unaware of?
No.
Okay. So my opinion comes down to two different decisions, is that we have one application who's specifically applying for the city superintendent position. An interview has not been conducted. However, he is the current actor. So we can either vote on that application now or conduct the interview in order to vote on next meeting. This item's up for discussion.
I mean, he's already doing the job.
I would have to agree with that part,
Mhm.
especially where it's been open for so long and we haven't had any other applicants. And we already know what he's been doing how he's been doing. Has any reviews, I suppose, been held since he has been doing this position? Okay, is there
Like
any,
official reviews, like you guys do our annual review,
We are due for the
semi-annual?
semi-annual,
Okay, no, they have not been done
so they haven't been
on
done
any
yet.
of it, anybody.
But we are due,
Yeah, it is 6 months, just at
Mhm.
the end of March, we are halfway through the fiscal year.
Yep.
So let me write a note to remind that all that needs to be done. You want those by next meeting?
I would say it would have to be done by,
Possible.
preferably end of the month.
Well, that.
The mid-year review, because we just got out of the, like, we just completed our mid-year. That was, this is our first meeting within the second half of the fiscal year. So I think we even stated in our deal that they had to be done at a specific time frame.
By the end of the month of the fall, so that would be next
Yes.
meeting, because that's our last one in April, so that,
Well,
it's possible for all of us to
well,
do
it can be
that.
done by the end of the month,
Oh, and take two, I got you.
yes. To be, I mean, that gives,
Bring to first meeting in May.
uh-huh.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
So are we gonna wait till, those are done, or what do you wanna do with this now?
We're all thinking, you want to vote?
I honestly think we should just vote,
Yep.
because I don't believe we're gonna get any more applicants. It's already been open long enough, and again, like he said, he's been doing the job since
State the motion.
I left. I'll make a motion. Second. To hire Travis Lanier for the, what is it,
City
utility
superintendent.
superintendent.
Any other discussion?
Nope.
Not, all in favor, Chrissy?
Yes.
Sabrina?
Yes.
Quinn?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
All right, so moved.
Congratulations. Happy paper. Can't be shy no more.
Okay, so the utility assistant suit positions, you guys want to, set up interviews?
Interviews with mayor, chairman, and the new supervisor of said be hired.
Can I ask that they be done like you guys set it up, get it done quick? I'm just thinking of the time frame. Yard waste starts tomorrow.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
What's her name? Lizzie's were here today, start the lagoon. All America was here for the gazebo. 316 was here for the roads. I'm just saying, it's. What's that?
You're gonna be on Wednesday,
You are? Who is?
going to help Oxford.
Oh.
We'll get together and get a date for.
So, you wanna, well, you can tell me round robin.
All right, Terry Klein, new ambulance and old ambulance.
Is that you?
Either
I
Terry
just
Klein.
wanted to update everybody a little bit. We've been waiting for our new ambulance for almost 3.5 years now. And it is sitting in York at this time, being lettered, getting the radios put in. He's supposed to send me the invoice, but it's not official yet. The numbers came in, they told us that it would probably increase over what the bid was when we got it. I don't have that number in front of me. But the numbers did increase about $11,000. Difference being, he priced us a 2023 unit. This is gonna be a 2026 chassis. Chassis went up that much. The box did not increase. We made a wise choice not going with the pickup that way because the pickups increased like 15 to 20%, the pickup chassis. So, I've got a rough number that if you want it, but he hopes to deliver it next week. So I just wanted to give you a heads up. if you wanna, whatever it takes to be ready to write the check for it. And as soon as he gets me the official number, I'll give it to Jackie. But it's gonna be, you know,
312-ish?
Huh?
312-ish?
no, roughly 285.
Oh, we're happy.
It's less than I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I believe we're all set up for all this. Jackie and I have been preparing for a pretty long time, right? Just remind me how the grant money works.
Okay, we
So-
did receive a grant
Uh-huh.
for 75,000, well, 74,999,
Right,
go figure. We submitted our down payment of 31,000-ish, and they reimbursed us, I believe, the
That's
down
still in your
payment.
ambulance
So
account.
as soon as he
Still in
delivers
your
the
ambulance account.
paperwork, and one of the papers that he delivers is, we sign something saying we have received it.
right.
He signs it, we can submit that to the state, 30-day turnaround on receiving the rest of the grant.
Okay. But the grant we received ended up in, the portion of the grant that we already received is currently in the ambulance grant. And then when we get that final bill, we have to pay first, or they send us that money once we show them
We
the bill?
gotta pay
and
for the
then that
whole
comes back?
thing.
Okay,
And then they'll
all right,
submit it to the state, and they'll
Okay.
bring it back, and it'll come back in the equipment fund.
very good. All right,
That being said, also, then we will have the other unit to get rid of. We're not gonna be in urgent, I hope the city has some place we could stick it inside the building anyway for a while until we get it marketed, but I think we could do better than selling it out the back door, with all the advent of all the online auctions and stuff. I think we can maybe do a little better than we have in the past. But just, you guys probably are more familiar with those online auctions than I am, but there are some pretty good options out there. So,
What are the purple something and
Purple
iron?
wave.
Purple wave.
Purple wave is what we went through for the fire department.
I just wanted to keep you updated on where we're at, and hopefully by the end of next week, we'll have the new one. I don't know how quickly we can put it in service. We got the licensing, with the license plate, get the state and all that, but hopefully in 2 weeks, we'll be in action with it.
You received my email, explain.
Yes, but we have to also notify the state for our ambulance license.
I just wanted you to know that I did talk to Barb.
And so, and I can't do that until I get the VIN. So, it'll be a couple days probably. And it sounded like a couple days local here to be
Yeah,
able to
but I
get.
don't think it's gonna be
Yeah,
the headache we
get-
got up to.
I figure if he delivers it next week, if we get it in service at the end of the week, I'd be surprised. But, and it is gonna be a gas burner this time instead of a diesel. Kinda seemed to be the right thing to do, and after talking to the people that are getting these new diesels, and you couldn't get one in the van chassis like we got. These gas ones are turning out to be a better unit. And we don't have to mess with that. Any questions that I can answer? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Terry.
And you. Okay, next up is Alan Triple with the generators and the city council procedure.
Alright, Alan Triple, 924 9th Street. I, had come up, through some people that I've dealt with, some generators that, had come up on for sale, and, I mean, it was short time, I knew it was probably a no-go thing, but, just to show you guys, I mean, or get it in your head that there's a chance of, setting up the city with some generators, or a generator, whichever, but, didn't know if you guys had thought any more about that, or if you got that information that I sent in. Is that something that you're interested in, with us being with the electrical setup the way it is, and if we don't have anybody that can, I mean, if Twin Valleys isn't gonna take care of us in the case of emergency, I think it's more, advantageous for us to have some type of electrical system, I mean, or generator, to, you know, in a big outage and stuff for the city. So just wanted to see what your guys' thoughts were with it. I've looked into a bunch of other ones that could handle the city, one by itself or one for each side. I think the city's splitting both sides, but, didn't know what you guys were thinking on that.
Well, right now, I mean, we just got the amortization schedule for the lagoons. And, you know, we kind of need to go through all that and make sure where the money's coming from, how we're paying for that. I mean, it'd be nice to have generator right on hand, but, you know, we've got to be able to afford that first.
Right. Yeah, I'm not saying write a check for it tomorrow, but, that was a hell of a deal, and that was something that was only gonna come around once in a lifetime kind of thing, but they, I mean, like to be proactive if we end up, working towards something. If you don't have a plan, then we're, you know, how many years go by before we're, you know, we're out, if we end up in an emergency somewhere, like I said, I'm just wanting to see if you guys had any thoughts on, doing something down the road.
Like I stated at the last meeting, Alan, like that's been like a long-term goal of mine as well, to have that on there. I will admit, I've looked at your email, and that is still something I would like to see done, but I will also be honest that I haven't thought much of it since the lagoon repair and everything else we got going on. I'll look at it more closely. I'll talk to you outside of things,
Yeah,
but, I do not disagree with you. I would like to see us be able to have our own backup to where we could be self-reliant. I do think that would be a nice thing to have for the community.
Yeah.
The whole deal is, as long as it's, you got a water project, and now a lagoon project, and it's just finding where we can fit that in.
Right, well, pockets are only so deep, and
Yeah.
and I understand that, but the price that, was being looked at before, or whatever, I know that I've heard some horrendous, cost, and it won't be, I mean, we can get into stuff a lot cheaper than that, so.
Right.
Yeah, I will agree with Quinn, though, I think eventually we need to get some, but.
The other thing was what is the procedure, of having, I mean, with what went on with, Colin and how all that came down, what is the parliamentary procedure and stuff for the city on taking, care of, complaints, or, how is, I mean, cause this anonymous stuff, and I don't know, I just curious on how is all of that taken care of? I mean, what's in the bylaws, or what, I mean, how is that supposed to be done? Cause it's obvious whatever's went on, cause I've been at a couple different meetings now, and there's been stuff went on that was different, and it doesn't seem to be taken care of correctly, or there's a problem there. So what, I mean,
Are you asking me?
I don't, anybody
Well,
that knows.
I know as long as I've been on this council, we've pushed and said that if there is an actual complaint, it needs to be a written complaint at the city office.
There's even a complaint form now to be
Yes,
filed?
and
Yes.
that is new permission then to send it to the sheriff, and then
Yes.
permission to serve.
And
papers.
we, in the past, have got numerous anonymous complaints that weren't dealt with properly. So we've been pushing for, if you wanna complain, it needs to be filled out, it needs to be filed properly, so then it can be dealt with correctly.
If it doesn't follow parliamentary procedure, then how does that take, how is, somebody's gotta be held accountable or something, what's,
I think you missed, so Doug was here and spoke in
okay,
the very beginning and sent a letter.
all right,
I'm happy to share that with you, if it answers your question.
perfect,
Or-
okay,
And Bill would like to ask some questions with you on
Okay.
procedure too.
okay. That's all I have.
These complaints, they have to be signed, correct?
Yes.
And
Before I can
It has to be
send-
somebody that lives in this city.
That I don't know. Do you mean, can somebody drive in from McCook and just decide to fill out a bunch of complaint forms? Or do you mean if somebody in McCook owns property here and fills one out?
And you don't even have to go as far as McCook, just outside the city limits.
Oh, I don't know. What do you guys, 2 miles around. You have jurisdiction 1.5 mile circumference around the town.
Yeah, that's.
So 1.5 miles out.
Or 2. There's what you have. I'm gonna say the name wrong, but we have our comprehensive community plan, which basically, let's say for future references, if the city were to expand, here's our buffer, right? So that ordinance, what you would call it, I guess, fall within that zoning and ordinance regulation, and then she stated, I think it's 1.5 miles, if not maybe 2, but it's a circumference buffer around what's currently the city that falls into. Does that make sense?
No, not really. And the zoning part of it does, but
Well, a common instance I'll bring up is like the livestock that are within that zone to where they technically need to apply for a variance. Like Junior Lanier comes up every time he wants to graze his corn stalks, fills out that variance to have cattle in there for a certain amount of period, right? Is that in the city or is it within that buffer? His cropland field. Does that kind of make sense? I'm just using that as an example.
You could use Isaac, he's out of.
Or Isaac Watson for that matter, yes. So because he has that calving pasture and all that down there, that's technically within that buffer, within our watershed and everything else, that we have that variance with him for that cattle usage within that limit.
So can people just complain anonymously without the people who are being complained about knowing who or why or anything? Or can people just randomly report whatever they want and target people specifically?
Technically, if they file a city complaint, file it correctly with the sheriff's department, and the sheriff's department's looking at the ordinances and reviews it and think there's something worth addressing, then yeah.
Well,
But
Jim,
again, as stated, we have a letter that outlines that.
well, Jim told me he couldn't tell me who complained about my property, so
We're
There's-
talking 2 different things.
Yeah,
what are you talking
That's
about?
building
We're talking
permits.
2 different
Oh,
things.
well, is a building permit different than a fence permit?
What you're talking about, Dylan, is we get different complaints, they're not something that would ever go to the sheriff's department. It is a complaint to see if the planning committee will look at it and make a decision on whether something needs to be done or not. And that's what yours fell into.
Okay, so my question again is, does that remain anonymous, or are people allowed to know who's complaining about other people?
Well,
What,
this
you know,
time
why
we
do you
left
wanna
it
complain about me? I don't have the
because
right
it's
to know
not
who it is.
This time it's been left anonymous.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
it's
of course
not-
it is.
Because it's
Okay,
not
we're-
something that's going to
We're
go
not
to the
gonna get
sheriff's
into an
department.
argument on that. I mean, you'll have to talk, you can speak with him after.
He already spoke to me, and he said he can't tell me who, which leads me to believe that maybe it's just you.
All right, we're not gonna go there.
Bill,
So,
Did you have any more questions?
Bill, are you
No, I'm not
done?
getting them, so.
Bill, did you already ask him?
Yeah, you're not getting.
Did you have anything?
I'm not getting where I wanna go.
Well, try again. It's fine. We have time.
We have ordinance in this town. I had no idea there was any ordinances in this town. And that's probably my fault, I didn't check. But, where you reviewed the ordinances not too long ago, did you ask why or if these ordinances are useful, up to date?
To be honest, I don't know this ordinance book. They've had a lot of ordinances in it for a very long time. And in my opinion, there are some ordinances that probably need to be taken out because they do not apply to here. The ordinance book is very big, very large, and a lot to go through. So
Yeah,
there
and
are things that are
It doesn't
going,
answer the question, so that why was this put into effect?
Well, Bill, and what we talked before in the office, the whys, you know, we have books back from 1888. And why some of these came in there, we don't know unless you wanna go through the ordinance book and then see where that ordinance was brought up and passed, but yet the whole discussion around it's probably not gonna be in there. It just won't be. But the ordinance being done would be. But it's like some of them, we don't know why. And as I told you back in 2014, when the council redid the codification on, recodified the book at that time in 2014, our council at that time, we went through every section, every meeting, and went through it, and we made changes that we felt needed to be made or whatever. And the attorney, Jim Dotson, sat over there and listened to the whole, every meeting, and we did that through the whole book. But that was in 2014, and that was a whole different council. But we won't, I mean, some of these, who knows why?
So if somebody in the public sees an ordinance that they question whether or not it applies now or should be something maybe that's enforced, how do you guys handle changing an ordinance?
I'll give you a prime example. Good question. So for instance, we had a ordinance for the fireworks, for instance, right? Perfect example. Basically, the way it was worded is like, hey, we follow Nebraska state statutes. Okay, that's great. Okay. Then, well, what state statute says, like, well, basically, as long as you're not in a burn ban, you can light off fireworks. So that's what we're following. That's great, right? Well, then the way it was worded and with different interpretations, people are getting phone calls and people lighting off fireworks, whatever. I was one of them, received a complaint. I said, this is what the ordinance says. Yep, you're not wrong, but we're getting complaints. So then we put in a deal to say, okay, well, because it falls into a city ordinance, not a state statute, we're gonna write an ordinance that lists you the specific dates, which I voted against, but that's a prime example why that one was created. Okay, we can light off fireworks on these holidays. If you want to light fireworks outside of that, you need to come to the city and ask for a permit to do so.
So if somebody sees an ordinance or there's an ordinance that doesn't make any sense anymore,
bring
you
it
can like bring it to
Bring it to the
the
council.
so we can-
Yeah, you
so
bring
we
it to the
can
city council
review
and
it.
say, hey, look at this one, maybe it needs to be changed.
Yep, I would say if you had the ambition and wanted to go through the ordinance book and there were certain ones that you thought were crazy or needed revamped and whatever, bring it to the council so we can look at it. Because like I said, this is a very large book and it is sometimes worded confusing. And if we don't know what the public is looking at and wondering why it's a crazy ordinance or why we even have it or whatever, we don't know what you guys are thinking if you don't bring it to us. So if you find one, absolutely bring it to us so we can review it and go over it.
And with that, like just like that with Quinn saying about the fireworks, we had a full discussion about it, more than one meeting. But when it comes down to being in the ordinance book, is in the minutes of the meeting that changed that in the ordinance book, that whole discussion isn't gonna be there. It's just gonna be the ordinance that was changed, but not the whole discussion.
Well, I will give you where I'm coming from. And it really doesn't make any difference to me. But you can't have a sign, a political sign in your yard. That's the ordinance. Now, we went to Lincoln the back way,
See,
and every town has political signs in their yards. We must be the only one in the whole state that has an ordinance against that.
That's actually in the zoning book, yes, you're right.
yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
It's
I heard you say that.
actually not an ordinance, it's a zoning.
Right?
So you don't have freedom of
It's zoning
speech because of
regulations.
some zoning thing, people can't express their freedom of speech because of some stupid zoning thing, like what does that even mean?
Is that an ordinance that could be changed?
It is a zoning regulation, which I believe those,
So ordinances are written by lawyers, they do the mouth work, the words, and zoning, this comprehensive plan he spoke of earlier has zoning regs in it, and engineers write those.
So that's
But was it a copy and paste kind of situation, maybe where they were in, I don't know, Chicago, and in Chicago, we shouldn't have those signs because we're gonna cause a bunch of chaos? Was it maybe something that wasn't necessarily tailored to our town of 500?
It could be.
And,
Perhaps.
But,
so
what
as
year
a
was
zoning
that book?
regulation, how do you?
2020.
Okay, so the zoning book was done, it was in 2020.
So it very well could be, and I do believe that
So-
they have brought that up in meetings with us, isn't that right, Jim?
Talked
I'm not
about-
trying to put you on the spot, but I think you were there when we talked.
It's been talked about, and correct me where I'm wrong, the regulation does not say no signs, period.
It says 30 days
It
before
says
the
30
election.
days before an election, then you can have your signs up.
Why does that matter?
Yeah, but are we the only, we must be the only town in.
I haven't gone someplace else, Bill, and looked.
It's
We get
everyone
these
and no
done
one,
by
though.
someone else, and that's, it's all guidelines from Lincoln.
so what does it take for us to change the zoning ones? Same process
We can
as?
have anything in there changed.
Miller,
And we probably do for, it's supposed to be every 5-6 years. And we can request when they rewrite this, if we don't wanna do it haphazard, it costs us too much money. Cause they ain't doing it for free.
Miller's will do it, right?
But Miller's will rewrite this book, and it should be redone. And we can request certain things be changed, added, or deleted. And then they will work with us to legally do that.
It's
This
supposed to
isn't just out of
redone,
your
it's
head.
supposed to be redone anyways, like a matter of like 10 years. So regardless, you're supposed to have an updated,
2030, this will be redone, 2030.
so 2030, so another 4 years, but we can get it done prior to then. The other thing I'll point out is that we had several meetings when this was being drawn up for people to review and put input. I'm not saying that's our fault for accepting that, but everybody in the community had multiple opportunity, which was stated for public review. Everybody had the opportunity to review that book
Can we
and,
just
and a
change
meeting
one
to
zoning?
discuss it.
Okay, I got a letter from the lawyer, your lawyer,
Mhm.
about the sign I had in my front yard. I didn't even know there was an ordinance against it.
I was
Of course,
unaware.
now I gotta admit that I've only lived here, 4 years?
Bill, I wasn't even aware
I don't
of
think,
that particular
Okay.
issue.
I don't think
Okay.
any of us up here were really aware of that.
So what's the
Either.
significance of the 30 days then? Is there a reason why it's 30 days? Like, is there some sort of significance to that particular?
That's what it says in the zoning
We don't
thing,
know
but
why.
They base, a lot of this is, we have to go with certain regulations with the state, of course, and they do these for lots of different towns. Now, as far as their understanding. I did not see that when we did this. I didn't read that book cover to cover, to be honest. But I don't know why, there's just a 30-day there. Other towns have something different. Maybe they change them. I have no idea. But this is where a lot of this comes from. It is guidelines from the state to do this so that towns are not going out here in the Wild West doing their own thing and nobody knows. So these are the things that come up, that when this is redone, this is something that needs to be looked at, and, you know, to get it changed, because it sounds to me like the people in town don't want it that way. So this is something that can be changed. It takes them a year or two to do this book.
Can we just change one zoning
section.
rule, or do we have to do the whole book?
I would have to ask Millers, because
I
I'm
mean,
not
just
sure
for
how
the
that
meantime,
works.
cause if we're gonna get it done in 4 years anyways,
We
I
can,
would
we
say
can
we
start now
wouldn't
and get it
necessarily
done
have to
early.
do the whole book now,
But
but
that's-
at least that
actually,
one,
that's-
or
Well, if we're gonna do one, then we just as well
Start
update
going
it.
through the
Clean
book.
house.
Clean house.
which is
And
fine,
go through it,
but
but, Paul, and again, I'm not putting this on anybody, but we had to have this, have an updated comprehensive plan in place in order to get the grant money for this water project. Okay, in order to qualify for this grant that we got, that we received, this USDA funds and all the extra money we got to help pay for our water project, we had to have an updated comprehensive plan. Okay, that's why the study was done back then. Okay?
And again, that is yet another ginormous book that is not the easiest to comprehend. So when you're going through the book, there's things that are gonna be missed. And same with the city ordinances, there's things that we're gonna miss, but that's exactly why we rely on you guys, is situations unfortunately like this situation with the signs, it happened, but we would have never known that it was a thing if this didn't happen.
How did we know that it was a thing?
I have no idea where it came from. I don't know where the complaints came from, I don't know.
If the complaint
To get back to your point though, we can update our comprehensive plan early. Just because it's due in 4 more years, doesn't mean we can't get the ball rolling and start going through it now. Because it's a lengthy process to do all the,
Well, if this was a complaint that came about, then it should have been a written complaint.
No, I did not receive a written complaint. I wonder if we can ask the question too, if it is, it might be easier to take some out that we don't want and do away with them than to change the whole, I might be able to take some out for little of nothing. I don't know, it's a question to ask. Craig is the man, is that who you spoke with?
at least for the meantime, until we can review the whole book, is what I'm getting at.
But still, Miller and Associates have to,
They have to be involved.
yeah.
I understand that, but they can't just take one thing out.
I don't,
We'd have
We
to
would have
ask
to
them.
add
I don't know what they can
something.
do for sure.
Okay.
See how much it'd be.
I don't know, but we can ask them. Because we can change ordinances with, I mean, you guys
Well, I know,
voting
like, we can
and
edit
3 readings
ordinances and
and all this
stuff
stuff.
throughout, so I didn't know if we can do that with zoning or what.
Jim, how about, can we get together and ask the questions and give them an answer?
Yep.
We'll ask.
Call Miller.
Okay, thank you.
I think it's Craig that you had come
Craig's the
down.
last one I talked to about stuff
Carney.
in here, so.
We'll ask them.
yep, ask them,
Yeah, ask them.
see what we do.
They're always available to us. They're really good about it.
I have a question. Could there be a civic committee look at the book to make, and if they see something they think could be a suggestion, bring that to the council for them to consider?
I personally would love that.
I don't think it's a bad idea.
No, I don't either.
Because it's really hard for the council members, just the council members, to look at that, because everybody can read it and read a specific line or paragraph different than another person. And if you have some people who are kind of maybe involved in the community, maybe if they saw something and, you know, not to make the changes, but to bring the suggestion, to say, you know, do you think you could consider thinking about it?
Yeah, I think
I
that's a
mean-
good idea.
I think it's a good idea, because not only then, is it taking workload off there, it's
Yeah,
also involving the community.
yeah,
You guys tell them what you
yeah. I
like
mean,
and don't
instead
like.
of having, complaints, you know, or,
I think it's a great idea myself.
I would agree.
I'd rather have more communication than confrontation and complaints
Exactly.
with.
And speaking of communication, can we get the agenda posted online? I know it's gotta be legally posted in 3 places or whatever, but for the younger generation that is always looking online and can't find anything, maybe we could have it posted. I mean, it's public and transparent, and, sorry, Bill is on the internet, he's looking at me.
It's posted at the city office online.
Just post, just to have it posted so people are aware of what's being discussed at the council meeting.
It's posted at the city office on the door. The reason it came off from the Facebook is because it turned into a crap show.
But you
And
turn the
people were
comments
acting
off
like
on the
two-years
post,
old.
so,
I thought by law you had to have it different, 3 different places.
You,
the
and
bank,
it is.
We do, it
No,
doesn't
the
say
notice
online.
of the meeting has to be posted in 3 places. The agenda does not
And
have to be
online.
posted at all.
I don't think
No.
I don't think it's a legal thing that you have to post it online, but it does need to be posted. The agenda itself does not need to be posted 3 places, does it?
No, notice of
Just
meeting.
the notice of the meeting has to be posted 3 places. I do know that and feel free, if you wanna go take a picture of the agenda and post it on your Facebook
I did
page.
do that for a while.
I'm just saying, like, but there's no legalities stating that we have to, as
Right.
the city, post it on social media or
Correct.
the internet or anything.
If people have the right to do that, then
Yep.
it doesn't even matter, you know what I mean? So,
Just
yeah, you can just
asking.
do that.
Do you guys want it on the Facebook?
I mean, I don't think
If
it
we
would
can-
hurt and just shut off the
If your
comments
comments
if you're
are off,
worried
then-
about the comments
Yeah.
being, you know, cause I do know that we had an issue with that in the past and it just created a big deal, but if it's posted on our Facebook page and you just shut the comments off, at least then people can see it.
If they have concerns.
And social media is growing, and that's how a lot of people get their information.
It's like he was saying in the book about it all being done, we probably didn't even know about it at the time, probably, you know.
Right.
So it would be nice to have.
Yep.
It other places.
And these books are at the city office for anybody to review at any point in time. As well. We don't have to have a situation like this come up where you're like, well, crap, I'd like to go look at that. You guys are more than welcome to look at it at any point in time during business hours.
They're at the library as well. You can check it out from the library.
And should be at the courthouse too, I think, too, so
Yes, they are.
there's some
Mhm.
places that,
It is.
So, yeah, it's not like it's a secret or anybody's trying to hide it, it's just, unfortunately, until issues like this arise, people sometimes don't even think about that. They don't think hey, maybe I'm curious about doing something like this, what are the city ordinances, or, you know, you have a neighbor who's got something and you don't know what they should have or whatever, and you wanna find out. It's available for you guys anytime during business hours.
And we've been working towards getting them posted online, so they're accessible, I mean, from your home at all time. But we had to do, part of doing that whole process was getting this recodification done. That's the new blue book you see up there. That's the new one we just finished up. It just arrived. So now we need to start talking about also, so moving towards that page so that they could be online.
And wasn't there something with, okay, so like if we, throughout the year or whatever, wanna change one ordinance, that portion of it gets kinda costly once you put it online, doesn't it? Cause you have to change it online as well. Wasn't that a discussion?
Are you talking about costly rewriting it? The lawyer does that, we have to pay her.
No,
fee.
like
I think it
if we
was-
rewrite it, but
I
then
think it
if
had to
it
do with the
gets,
data management, because you're updating the whole book, not necessarily sections of the book, so then it's, it was the whole,
Like it's one file
yeah.
online versus sectioned off, like in the.
Oh, gotcha. That'll
makes
make sense.
sense.
I'll have to find out.
And because I think I remember we had that discussion of, that was part of the reason that we were wondering if it was a good idea or not, because if something gets changed, then you have to change that whole document for,
And pay the same company to,
yeah.
There's
If I-
another option, because I know we had talked about doing our own website versus their website, because it
Yeah.
was cheaper to do
And I
it
did
that
talk to
way.
Ryan about that. And,
Would there be a way that we could just scan it in? And I don't know, or like. if we
I don't know,
have an
I'll ask
update-
Ryan more questions about that, because he is in touch with the
gotta
people
be
who
another
build
way to do
his
it.
stuff for him.
yeah, let's, for the sake of the meeting, let's revisit that, put that on your to-do list. But all in all, y'all, this was stage one, updating the terminology from 14 years ago. I mean, getting the recog done was stage one.
Would there be a way of putting amendments at the end? Adding it to the end and listing page, paragraph number, whatever, and that way it wouldn't be in the middle of it, you could go to the end and see it. I mean, just an idea.
That would be a question we could ask.
Okay, anything more on the left? If not, let's go to the pool manager, applications and positions. We have some applications. Somebody wanna get together for those and, do interviews?
Parks Committee.
Park committee, yep.
Yep.
That's us three, isn't it?
Yep. I did have a couple questions on this. How many applicants do we have to be able to open the pool?
Legally, I think they only need one lifeguard for the size of the pool that we have, but you also have a manager, so bottom line, you'd have two, but you wouldn't have any backups or anything.
I think that you have to have at least 4, don't you, to open the pool?
No, it's 3 because you have to allot for the break.
Yeah, well, that's true unless
If you have anybody in the deep end, you have to have 3 out there at one time.
No, the size of the pool is the surface area is what it is, and with our surface area, if you put one up in the tall guard stand and they can see the whole surface area. But that just doesn't work because then you have somebody in the little kitty, I mean, in my world, you have somebody in the little kitty side. You wouldn't wanna leave your stand and, have to go help them, it'd take a while. And there might be more coming in, once you get the manager, all we do is hire the manager and then she hires the lifeguards.
I thought we had to have, I thought we had to have 3 on staff. Open hours, so they had the opportunity to have their breaks and the rotate situation.
That's what we do. And like I
Well,
said,
and
with
you
the
would
state-
think you would have to have more than that, especially with the issue that we came up with last year with overtime. Because if you only have that, you need to have a certain amount of employees.
Well, yeah, because there's somebody gonna be gone, somebody's gonna be on vacation. So the Parks and Rec wanna get together and
Yeah.
take care of that?
We will.
Okay. I'll leave that to you guys. Okay, that's the end of the agenda. I don't have anything else. You, Jordan.
I do not.
Christie,
No.
Sabrina.
I want to thank the council for opening your ears.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you
Thanks,
for your
Bill.
input.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Candy.
So can we ask any more questions, or is that it?
No, that's, yep. Sabrina?
I was looking through the rest of this packet and I was wanting to know what this highlighted section
That's
was.
the audit results.
Okay, and with the audit results and this number one that's highlighted with the wages of the pool stuff last year, what is this?
When Catherine became manager, when Aubrey left.
Okay, so when we hire for the pool manager who we chooses the assistant manager, and then they also choose the lifeguards, right?
Yes. Yes.
So, was she the assistant manager last year?
Who? Which one?
Catherine.
Didn't she come on?
She was a swim team gal.
So she wasn't the assistant manager?
I don't know, who was assistant?
It was,
Cause Aubrey was the
Gabe-
manager and then,
Gabe was assistant, and the other assistant was, think about this,
I thought we only had one.
I think you're right, I think,
So.
Kat was not, and then there was a whole discussion of whether she could be, and we got into a whole deal about it last year.
So for clarification this year, say we hire a manager, and unfortunately, we have the same thing happen where we don't have a manager anymore. Is that not the duties of the assistant manager to take over manager position?
I would agree.
Because we have to have a manager.
I would agree.
So for future reference, if this happens again, does that automatically make the next person in line step up, kind of like what we had to do with Buck and Glenna? Because we have to have a manager to run the pool, correct?
The auditor's complaint was that, a raise was given without going through the council with a resolution. Cannot do money stuff at all without a resolution and a vote.
So, future reference, again, if this happens, we need to vote the assistant manager that is next in line as manager and get that paperwork completed correctly. Right?
That's the way, I would assume that's why the assistant manager is the assistant manager.
Okay,
Is to,
that's what I wanted the clarification on, because I don't want another rerun of all that stuff from last year. Also, while we're talking about reruns of stuff from last year, I would really like clarification on the overtime pay before we hire. That way, when we do hire, we can get it specified in the paperwork that they have to sign. Because I do not want to deal with this again.
That's where there's supposed to be a Parks and Recreation, go through and do a handbook specifically for the pool people, because they're different than everybody else, where they're seasonal.
So
We
last year,
discussed that
we
last year.
didn't have a handbook last year to go off of, we were just doing what we wanted?
No,
Okay, well, I'm
was,
confused.
there was no handbook, and until the overtime part came up, where it states on the poster, there's no overtime for seasonal help.
On what
And there
poster?
was the, what's it called, Jackie?
labor laws up front. The whole problem came in with, it was okay for the person to get paid overtime previous the check before. Once you do that, you can't take it away from them. That's where the problem came in. So you can't say, yes, I'm paying you overtime this week, and next paycheck say no. If you start that, you have to finish it out.
So, is it something that is just, okay, this poster you're talking about, what is
It's
it?
a labor laws that, well, you guys don't see it because it's on that wall, you guys are standing on the other side of the counter.
It's kind of like
on
the
wall,
Open
right?
Meetings Act, but it's for the state with the
It
wages.
tells you what the minimum wage is, if you can hire people that are 14, all that stuff.
And that's what we
It fills the
follow?
whole wall, huh?
That's what we follow?
That's the labor laws from the state, the government, yeah, that's what you have to follow.
Okay, so what I'm getting at is seasonal workers do not get paid overtime, period, all around the state?
If it's on that sign, yes. And the other half of it is then you have to have enough people to open the pool that nobody gets overtime, or you have to shorten the hours.
Okay,
So that's another thing to look at when you're doing interviews and such and whatever.
Okay, that's what I want clarification on, I'd like it stated when we're doing it, we can get together and work on it, but I want to make sure we do not have another rerun of last year, because that was a mess. So, us on the parks and stuff can work on that. That way it is cut and dry and clear to the employee, the expectations, and what we are gonna follow. That's it.
Quinn,
Yeah, I've spoken with a couple people about this, but I've had a work order on that tree in the northeast side of the square for like 2 years or more. And it's bad. It's peeling, everything. I've talked
That's
to,
right on the corner that's
yes,
over a line.
yeah, you could see it literally rotting down the bark, so it is a hazard. I've talked to Jackie and Buck about it. It's gotta come out. Our guys are busy. And again, I've talked to a couple of you about this already. Are you okay with them working overtime hours on a weekend to help get that tree out, or would you rather get it contracted out?
We got an $800 quote today.
Did you?
To remove that, yeah.
Just so we have something to go
Okay.
with, and then, I don't feel like it's too bad, what do you guys think?
So we got an $800 quote, so.
I think just let them take it out for $800, nobody gets hurt, they're professionals. You guys don't have to worry about it. And they haul it off.
Okay,
Alright,
if he's happy with that,
I'm good with that.
we consensus on that?
Yeah,
Yep.
that'd be
Okay.
consent, okay. Consent on free quote. You good? Okay, with that?
And do we have have we signed the Arbor Day proclamation yet?
Yes, that was gonna be on this one, but the agenda was this long, so that's one thing that will go on the 20th.
So we do have a proclamation?
Yes, it's already, Becky's already signed it and
yes,
all
it's
the
ready to go.
Alright,
Anything else?
I'll just, I'll give a little note on the Arbor Day. Get credit to Jordan on this. Suggested planting a town Christmas tree, which that's gonna be our Arbor Day planting. We're gonna do it over by, where the Lions have the picnic area there. Still kind of weaving out details here, but it'll kind of be by the manor where the people from the manor be able to see it. And by that picnic area, we're gonna it'll start off a small Christmas tree, but hopefully grow into a town deal. And that was Jordan's idea, so I credit him with that. But that's what we're doing for our Arbor Day celebration this year. Details on time will be passed on as it gets ironed out, but that's all I have.
We did have a Snoopy theme,
What?
a Snoopy theme, so it's gonna be a small tree. but-
Yeah, that's what I said. It's gonna start out as a Charlie Brown tree, is what I said.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Buck, do you have anything? Jackie?
Ronnie McLean wanted me to let you guys know that he graded the road down to the well house that's in his pasture. He scared me because he told me, he said, you know where all the water's running down? And I'm like, it hasn't rained in a year, no, I'm worried. I thought we had a leak. Anyway, he's talking about overtime, so ever since we've had him out there, he just wanted you guys to know he graded the road down there and made it smooth. And if you have any questions or problems with him doing that, please let him know.
I'll thank Ronnie next time I see him.
Like Becky said earlier, the bank, so the state revolving fund for the lagoon loan, all those, numbers came in. It was too late to get it on this one, and it was big enough. But anyway, we'll get it, to you. Probably next meeting, Becky. All those numbers.
Anything else?
No, I think it's all.
I do have one thing that I did forget. Going through the ordinance books, the CRA, or no, not the CRA. Help me out.
As soon as I catch you, I will.
Building,
Did you building inspector?
nope.
Health board?
Nope.
Am I in the wrong ballpark?
Yep.
Okay.
Jim, what do you want?
Dangerous building?
The
Planning committee?
Planning committee, thank you. They, by the ordinances, are not to be getting paid for their services. And so the attorney, I don't know how that got to her, but the attorney said that They will not be given paid for the meetings. Due to the ordinance.
And if you wanna make it even worse, if they're gonna do, they can only serve 3 years. That's what I'm saying, about, if you wanna
That's-
start splitting hairs over ordinances, we're gonna have lots of. But
But-
anyway, we don't have enough people to do that, I realize that, I'm just saying, it's one of those things that probably needs changed.
It's no different than the tree board committee, is all, we can't serve X amount of continuous deal, that's finding the people.
That's what I'm saying, is I feel like that's one of those things that probably needs to be changed also. There's lots of little, like, there's some of, we only need half of it, we don't need that only serve 3 years part in there, because we don't have enough people to, doesn't make sense for this size of community.
And
That's all I have.
and I've been in the zoning committees where each year all right, who's gonna be chair? We do the same thing in the tree board committee, so we
Yeah,
have
and these,
everybody else.
these guys go to their meetings too,
Yeah.
every year.
So we need to make some changes.
I
Start
think,
working on
I think we need to
everything
take
else.
that half of the ordinance out. The 3-year thing, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Anyway. If nothing else, can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Second?
Jordan and Quinn?
One second.
Oh, Quinn did. All in favor of Jordan?
Yes.
Sabrina?
Yes.
Quinn?
Yes.
Thank you.